Maupay nga oras sa aton nga tanan, yan na labinan mga senior citizens nga namamati hini nga aton program, Senior Moments. Ako hinida, Batulod Villalon.
Nga ninihimayra Suladon Lim na siring maupay nga oras sa iyong tanan. Welcome to Senior Moments.
Yan akakulop, we have a very important guest. Maupay kay nakiangay ha amya na nga pagkanhi kay dupay atong topic hiunong especially mga benefits para sa senior citizens nga matatagamtaman naton and hit kanang kabukusan ano itatong guest yana engineer Alexi Cesar Dadia Abellar hiya at provincial head hit Dole Eastern Summerfield office din hiya Borongan City.
Maupay nga oras, Alexi.
Maupay nga oras po ay yung atanan.
Thank you for
namamati
coming.
din ay aton na television kan Tita Mayra, kan Tita Nida. Maupay po nga matitalak dirang malula kay hira senior citizen, iya po junior citizen.
Junior.
Mahiha ka pa. Mahiha ka pa.
Kami nga rin auntie, Delma, mga auntie Mayet, o mga magka-contemporaries. Anyway, kay di mendam ang himbabaruan hiuno ha except taga-alang-alang, di aramin niya magkanta. Other than that, hi ka malait paghatagin na brief bio or brief information about yourself hiunong yung career. Oo, sige.
Okay. Hiya ko pala ay Alexis Cesar D. Abellar, as mentioned kanina. Sa akong registered electrical engineer nga nakamanluwat kita natin Masters in Engineering Program, Major in Electrical Engineering, nga Masters of Arts, Major in Management. Currently, I am the Provincial Head hiton Department of Labor and Employment, Eastern Samar Field Office. I have been working with the department for quite 18 years and 4 years in academic institution. Naging instructor po ako sa Eastern Samar State University before naton transfer nga the Department of Labor and Employment.
What is an engineer doing at Dole?
Yan. Mabuga dito niyo papiana. Actually,
management nga.
Before my entry nga diha Department of Labor, that time, the regional director was then Boboy Sabulaw, Rodolfo Sabulaw.
Taga-Dinhiaat.
Tagalawaan po.
Yes.
Oo. So, nanginginhanglan hirahin isang electrical engineer. Nadiri actually naton father kay mo pay naman kumbaga nagtrabaho din yung Borongan nga aanhan naton pamilya. But it seems to me nga kinanglang ko in actual experience. Now, paano iton may ada dida nga mga technical hadoli? Itong Department of Labor po, hiya it in charge iton may niya sole jurisdiction hiton implementation hit safety. Now, when it comes to technical safety, ang mga inspection and electrical wiring installation na tumunan, Hafilpos, all industries in Region 8, ang in charge po ang Department of Labor. That time, they cannot issue permits han electrical safety installation kay waray niya electrical engineer. So, I make my chance to apply with that department and thankfully, I was accepted as Labor Employment Officer 3 that time, Department of Labor. That was year 2003, January 2016, when I started working with the department.
Where did you start? Dito ha?
Regional office po.
Regional office.
Plus pa, yan yung father. Manoli, was the Dole daman ano.
My father that time was already retired. He retired 1997
from Dole.
Yes, and I entered the department 2003. So 6 years. 6 years po ang naman naging gapan.
Pira ka na ka years?
18 years po.
Diri sa abot ano?
18 years.
Gimabatay. That's what music does. That's what music does.
How ano nida pa-interrupt ka kay importante nga announcement. Panawagan ko anahin pipira nga mga membro na maano ha Bato Senior Citizens Association nga gikikinahanglan na gadit iyong mga Xerox copy hani yung mga OSCA ID ngan Xerox copy hiton ID hiton ni mga caretakers bahin inihan na mga listatahan mga bedridden nga makakarawat kuntahin ayuda ti nga provincial government alit ira mga ngaran ano daradag mitaniyo kay ko ana ini Hi Pasita Behar, hi Jaime Funye, Primitiva Ubaldo, Consortia Mabaw, at nga tinalukod na ko rin hakadayunan ng isa, Juan Rapada. Pakidulong nala niyo ano ini yung maging kikinahanglan ng mga papeles para mahi-submiter ta na ini nga mga kikinahanglan nga tuha probinsya. Usa pa, may ada pati kubrahan ira municipal and monthly allowance sa city. Aurora Catalo. Kung mahihimo, kubrahan na daw ko, no, di ka siguro nag-iikag damit yung kwarta. Kubrahan. Kaya naadala ko, no, kaya nakakailang, kina mag-liquidate na daw ko, no, ito nakaputin nga kwarta di daha City Hall. Again, Aurora Catalo, kubrahan na ang imo monthly allowance sa City Hall. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, that's good. Pareho naman ang didit aman, katabok. Again, we were working on the Xerox copies. Pero ngadto hit payout, but ano yung it original na Oscar ID ni hit imo senior citizen, and it imo as caregiver, it imo ID. Ngadto hit payout. Ano? Sige. Okay. Balik kita nga dihit aton guest. Oo, kay
ma'am, kakuan inhiraya na kay darahining pandemic na dami din ang buligan ng basic, ito na yung mga programs para itong mga disadvantaged, usa na ini nga, pero may binabati nga tupad.
Mga displaced. Displaced, na-qualify it bisang senior citizen.
Okay. Hindi ito yung pagbuhayan sa ating displaced or disadvantaged worker. Actually, ini nga programa gin maihanayin hiya nga gin dudumarahan Department of Labor long before pa ni Secretary Bilio. Pwedeng hiyahan amon tinatawag na DILIP, Dual Integrated Livelihood and Emergency Employment Program. So may ada niya livelihood, may ada liwat niya tulong, an emergency program po, amo na ito ng tupad. Nagagamit it naman na unahan, may ada mga calamity like typhoon. Wari pa man nagto, tita mga pandemic na kuha na natin pala typhoon, at babaha, sulod nga pag-uran, ngayon na waray taman good nga kuwan din yan earthquake. So ito na itira nga duduha ang gagamitan. So kapag kaya na, naging matunog iniya because damo na displace nga mga worker darahang pandemic. Ang qualification po hini, ang mga citizen natin, mga Filipino citizen din tuminong ng din atin Pilipinas, ngayon particular din atin Eastern Samar, na may ada edad nga 18 igbaw. Now, itong edad nga 60 above, kinahanglan na namon yung certification nga physically fit to work hiya. Kaya di kita maaram kung bangin niya may mga inaabat na ngan para liwat itong naihahatag na trabaho naka-design in accordance with iya fitness, with iya lawas. For example, may dani comorbidities, ikakadalahiya siguro iya era lugar, paglinis it era kalibungan, or mabulig na lahiya kung ano nga mga light work, may gaalaw hiton local government unit. Kasi gini-implementin hiya, pagdarudilain nga mga LGUs. Haatan din iton atan na LGUs from Borongan to Giwan, Borongan to Arteche, pwede papan maslod.
Pero it-funding natin kang hadole.
Depende po. Iton funding, may ada hinira mga leadership fund nga din kundi. For example, Congressional District Office particular nga kanan na di naman ha Senate. May ada hinira mga sinisering mga soft project na hard project. Ang hard project is ngadto ni ray ginaalutagaan mga infrastructure. Ang soft project naman 30% tanira pundo ira ginaalutaga nga dinahan magderodelain ha DSWD nga diha Department of Labor. Asya na kundi idina-download nira nga dahadulian pundo. So maswerte kita din ni Eastern Samar kay taton mga political leaders kumbaga ira gud gin sasahid ang panaga ng mga munisipyo. Ang nagiging kuwalan din ang nagiging critical, ang selection ng beneficiaries.
Yes.
Honestly speaking, diri itong Department of Labor nanihinlabot po han implementasyon, han selection, han beneficiaries. Diri kami nangingilala.
Kasi sumulod lang na qualify.
Sumulod lang na qualify. Depende na han priority han local government unit. So for example, mag-i-implement na sa nga bungto, ipinapaubaya namon nga tuhan local government unit kung hinuan nira pipiliin nga priority nga beneficiaries. May adaliwat hiton aton mga political leaders, mga coordinator dito, nagsasarabot na lahira nga han mga atong mga tawo ang kanan local government units na. Like for example, amon an in charge dito ang peso. Anamong public employment service officer. So rest assured nga iton lilikidaran nga i-implementar hin eksakto. Totoo ito, may ada po ini mga pakiana kay diri man gud masasahid.
Siyempre.
What is 230 per every municipality? Ito
That
na
is for the whole year na itong 230.
Diri po. Depende itong fund nga maabot nga hadoli tapos ipapa-implement nga to iton nga mga local government units.
What is 230?
Beneficiaries po.
Per municipality. Madako maguti. That was the strategy ni Congresswoman Maria F.R. Abunda. So pagkita niya nga na medyo mas kinahanglanon ang mga LGU, nagsiring hiya nga Alexe, buligin nala kami, ikaw mong itakan si Kupistap, Yunaldo Ador, ikaw mong nagpahala pag-implement. So naman na karuya kasi ni Kong that time that pag-implementar nga niya paraptas kung sa kay mag-i-BBI. So that was the agreement that we have to implement 230.
Para ito isang organized group or individual nga?
No. This is not an organized group.
Individuals.
These are individuals nga aton gin profile para hiraan mag-qualify nga mga beneficiaries. So amo po ito niya.
So how much na magpunta nahihahatag na din isang beneficiary? More or less how much?
So naka-design ang program magdirodelain duduha kasi niya may ada nagtatrabahuhin napulo kadlaw. May ada nagtatrabahuhin 15 kadlaw. Itong 15 kadlaw, sisilduhan kay 325 per day. So that would be 4,875 if I'm not mistaken. Ang ira makakarawat for 15 days work. Yes. For the 10 days work, that is 3,250. So amo itong cash na makakarawat. Cash po yan, diri tiya pwedeng in kind. Diri liwat itiya cheque.
So one time ito na paghahap.
Yeah, one time cash assistance and diri itong doli po magpapatrabaho kung waray po hinira mga security. Like for example, an era insurance. May ada hinira government personal accident insurance. Well, they are enrolled to GSIS para hitira protection. In kaso kay senior naman ora nahingalimot siguro nga kuan natapilok. So waray gagastuhon han LGU kay may adit niya cover nga insurance. Pero di rin laliwat kitit nag-aampo nga magka-accidente pa. Yeah, that is protection. And gintatagan pa namon hirahin na worth 350 depende 350 or 400 nga personal protective equipment. So ano ang mga package dito ng personal protective equipment? May ada pwit nira green nga sweatshirt, may buri, may ada naman nira naka-alutaga nga kung 10 days na pulo nga face mask, kung 15 days na pulo nga face mask for 15 days, 15 pieces. Then may ada nira sabon nga ihahatag namon nga kada adlaw maghihilimpi ira mga kamot.
Para minimum
yes.
Requirements and
Yes.
health requirements.
Okay.
One time light hira.
Yes, we designed it for one time cash assistance nga matatagang tamanira kay with the limited number of beneficiaries nga nakaka-beneficial nini, we want as much as possible, we want to saturate all of them. So maswerte hira kung naibulig, then later,
Out of the
Pwede na naman, may pahiti mga pundo ang mahihatag. Sige
sige lang po at ita mayra, sige lang nga.
out of the 230, ano, 230 a month?
Or ma'am,
That's it.
Pwede may naman 50
Out of
days,
the
may dalang 10 days.
230, kunta may napulo nga senior, ano, nga kino, nga nag-apply, kunta, nga fit, nga certify, nga fit hira. It nga napulo, may niyo pinaka senior lane, kumbaga ko, ano.
Actually,
ano, him senior,
they should be prioritized. Amon kasi pagkita ko, oriented kasi itong mga local government unit and very particular itira. In fact, hesitant nga nila pagpabuligid sa inyo, but they cannot deprive kung nangyayang lang talaga. So, tamon gina-advise sa ira, bisan dito orientation, kung mahihimula, ibulag tayo hira. Ayaw tayo hira i-grupo, hit kinarong kabataan nga, halimbawa, ayun pagpapahawanan, bida under the sunlight, no. So, dapat atulay rin mga
kaya
barangay hall, mabulig na lang dito kung ano nga lirimpiyon, nga magdaan.
Linis naman.
Kaya actually, siguro, nakadesign ganyan ay panhatag la talaga ang kwarta. But to justify it, nga, employment man, temporary employment, they really have to work. So, fair day's work para fair day's labor. So, that's it. They have to work, but di rin na maging compromise ito na era safety, era health.
Kunta, Borongan, nakuha na naubos na
Itong Borongan, actually, ubos na. Nga may ada pa nila mga waiting list, kay direct kada mo nga nanginginahanglan. So, you can just imagine nga
nga niyo senior, may nga niyo senior na karoton or maging beneficiary nga senior magtarikamhin mga taga-hara nila din tabok, taga-batot o ganun yung Borongan. Pwede niyo assignan nga daha ang hatabok. Ito ang senior citizens by the man ng project duda makakabulig kita. In fact,
siguro we can even negotiate negotiate with the office of the city mayor nga didhet amon peso through our peso city and including province kasi nag-implement din po si Governor Ribardoni. Pwede kita makipag sumpayan na ira nga taganhin na kuhan itong mga senior.
Suga puntaam, mag-request kami itong barangay Bato na matagang kuntahin pera nga seniors nga. Pero di ba na nga may ada food for work para mga kuhan. Hindi lang mga yan, mga panlinis, di dahil papaligid, suga ito. Wala di ba nga program under la itong yan na hininga tupan?
Waray po. When it comes to employment, tupad lang niya na itong among pinaka kuhan nga programa. Naangay hiton dida kay other than that waray pa except di rin nahiya trabaho nga emergency employment and livelihood undertaking na wherein that you can work hita mo na mismo it mga senior citizen based on livelihood nga ihahatag ha iyo han doli for instance ikamot magdudumara ang pagpadalagan han iyo pakabuhi based iyo kakayahan as senior citizen kung ano man it nga negosyo.
Basta na itanap mga kuan. Ipapakayaan na.
Makuri na ada.
Kinahanglan. Senior nga enjoy ka damahit. Kagiguguuli. Na-enjoy ka hit iyo gimbubuhat. So, asya, pakiano ko kung ano dala kung pwede usahid mga senior. May mga senior citizens nga makaka-avail hiton nga tupad.
Yes, ma'am.
Bangin nagtutuloy ka mo hinasainan haira
diri man it dole ko nga iton may kalabutan ko nung mahirahin o
wari po matulan na ikadakan dito mga lista parang nag-aalangan puro naman la example na la may ada kami programa nga tupad nga kundiin igin-download pundo ni Senator Bungo igin-download parahan mga youth. Pero ang kinuha ng mga beneficiary may mga senior. Waring man lang doli. So, basta naman it's you to us that this person is physically fit to work. And that's it. Otherwise, kung even
basta on paper qualified.
Yes. We really look onto the requirements and guidelines na dapat kuhan hiya pasok.
Pero hinihimo ang naman inihiran mga job orders.
Waray na po, ma'am.
Ano malit paagi
Hiton paagi hiton pag profile ira, may na mga forms nga ginpapa-fill up na ira, including ang contract of service na mapermahira nga hirain magtatrabaho din niya burunggan, something like that. Then they have to magmamanifester, they have to signature anira nga dito anira ngaran nga hira interesado.
So ada yung pag-apply?
No, ma'am, ada tamon peso.
Peso din nga city.
Yeah. Kada LGU po, ma'am, may ada po kita mga Public Employment Service Office.
Okay, na lumaki. Nagkinapot-akit in peso, tidak?
Nakalipa province. Opo.
Nagkapot-akit. Katuta naman, may adapahan ka ng tupad, may dapan yung pakianan ka ng
kinahanglan itira at yung mga nag-a-apply hit nga tupad nga pag-avail ito nga program kinahanglan itira na displace hin sa nga klaseng trabaho, di ba? Diri nga
yes, ma'am.
Nga bis ang kunta wala nira trabaho and then may tupad.
Pwede naman, ma'am. Not necessarily displace. Disadvantage.
Displace or disadvantage.
When you talk about disadvantage, these are people from the informal sector na affected han pandemic. Like for example,
not necessarily nga working hira anay na udong.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Okay, so actually
hain kukuha sa peso kukuhan application.
Diri mami application, this is profile. Magpapa-profile nila dito Public Employment Service Office. Then that's the time nga kukuhaan na hiran mga impormasyon kung may ada pa mga bakante ang tupad. Iradayon itong gindo document, pero kung waray waiting list lani nila, then they will call you kung may ada na liwat isla. Very accommodating naman ito ang provincial government, itaton mga local government units. Very accommodating naman nila. So far, tamang experience.
Ay, binabati ito pa mga drivers, tricycle drivers, PUV drivers, kasambahay, mga sugad
pati ang mga locally stranded individuals, ang mga LSI, nanihihito din tira. Depende kasi
mafulirahan.
Yes, ma'am. May kasagaran kasi natin mga nagka-stranded, mga displaced worker ato. Waray napakabalik kanira trabaho. Rather, inuli na layrangan niya probinsya, kaya waray naman nira dito trabaho, kaya damo man na nag-shutdown nga.
Tama.
So, kung ma-profile na peso, hino naman iton na perma for approval na.
Iton na peso, pag na-profile ka na niya, ira na iton isa-submitted documentation nga diha. Of course, it will be approved by the mayor. Then isa-submit niya the Department of Labor para na nang i-encode kasi naka-system itiya. Itong system namon ina-cross-check it niya kung may ada po mga saring paniyo, kaya this is one-time cash assistance, right? May ada niya mga nakaduha na silid. Married light net dito nga, dihi Alexia Villar nakakaduha na X. Then we will call again the affected local government unit for the replacement ang beneficiary nga nagdubli. Para naman, ang intention talaga, natanan, masahid na kung masasahid man.
So for the whole city of Borongan, mga peran-era nag-qualify? Naka-avail.
Yan na nga 2021, for the record, kasi damo ito downloaded, may panera yan ang bago
May
89 plus I have to look my kasi I want to give you the exact figure.
Kabangin man lang
makita ko digo. Damo na na-implement kang tuwan. Ano pa yun
May the age limit.
18.
Let's say 60. No, 18 down. 17 down di pwede.
Pwede po.
Dili hit kategorangan.
Hit kategorangan na
up to 70.
Actually, kini-discourage na naman to 80 plus kasi
70.
Diri naman good po
young old.
Pero may ada nagyapit, ma'am, nag-i-insist nga basta magpatapon ito na doktor na issue yung physically fit. Mayor naman lang anit na napuponsensya, nasa rin nalaya, sige patrabaho atahit. pero didilain hira para sigurado waray tahin prakaso ni na orhe.
Right.
So based on my records po, ang Burongdan may ada nira di 289.
200
Nga plus may ada nira yan na 132 nga bag-o. Pero itera naka-waiting list 500.
Oh my goodness.
Kulang nagapit kay Mayor Dayan, kinanglang pala pugupan. Daro damo pa. So nalitira nga nanginginahanglan po kada mo. Dili let.
Continuous na itnat nga next year o sugad ko tayo.
Is ma'am. Waray pa nga ni kita bayanihan 3. Waray pa, this is just bayanihan 2 ng implementation. So pag na bayanihan 3 pa, much bigger pa it doli. Kaya naabuti 19 billion. So, damo pa nga ayuda.
Damo gadit nanginginahanglan pa daw. Yan ang mga panahon.
Kaya tama lang kasarag doon na ni Tyra. Ako di ko manggadit din once nagpe-payout na po. Sana diri ini yung gagamitin nga dito Ruigo. Hit nga tinarutal pakit nga ini. Hit nga irerignom. Nga pundin mga super spreader pa namin hirahit COVID. Gamitan niyo hit mga panginginahanglan nga kinahanglanan na din pamilya, pagkaon, medisina, or ano pa hindi nga necessity nga kariyag niyo paliton. Hindi naman natin mga mag-upay ng mga barato ng mga groceries na may ada na kita. So sana dito nila gamitin.
Okay. So kung haako pagpapa-implementaran, ubos ko na latataganhin tag 10 days para magsarasid.
Para damo.
Para damo.
Yes, nagdidepende po ito. Nagdidepende po ito on hit design, hit kung mapatiunan nyo tira pag-implementar because they have that option. 10 or 15 days. That's it. If you go with 10, much
madamo ito kakaagos.
Mas damo nga kuan beneficiaries, unlike iton 15, guti ay la. So depende po, depende. Actually, hit on part iton mga local chief executive. Ikaw po rin nira nga parte damin ha tanan ang tinawag kay kay nagkakamay nagcreate kasi damain hin frustration nan pulso itong mga tao because dito nga talanin masasahid it diri mga politiko guin it diri matagan nasa reserve iton mga mayor hikami it gin
iso na hinanabo
pipikahan ko gin nararaot salit itira nala nga ikinaubayan nila naman nila nga
doon na ito siguro social pension na nakuha lahing pipira
sana maintindihan naman siguro itong mga beneficiaries
dawa naman tapag nga hiyalukuhit anatagan hindi mitsugay kamakuri haak as it usually mahinanabo
actually others they create their own criteria on top hiton amon nga para ma-full hira dito hiton mga priorities itong mga local government that is good kasi diba kung open la anybody could just come nga sige mabulig akit dida sige di nga yan ora-orahin nga gigpupubrehe parang nasiset aside so asya nga asarin ko pa kanina otro kikupuri ko no era sa rin
makuri kami dito nag-profile matuod kamay na mahit ko na-qualify masiri nga
kay kadamo gaya tawag nga
na kusina maitit kuan social worker nga ikaw ituko ang kunin indigent
pero talaga kasi
validate hit kuan
pero mga frontline at mga peso at mga coordinator nga adto didto hira talaga babakingan hiton kundi rin nila mapili bisan nga ni kami nga anamo na lakunta is hikami naan mag-process on taphan ka ng Department of Labor na nga work may dalaga pa mo nitong sugad nga feedback nga bulig na kami ang pagpili. Iklaro po, diri po kami bulig ang pagpili kay diri po kami kilala.
Diri ko kasi uy dito it dole iton anak ko rate kami.
Bisan nga ni pag may ada mga walk-in clients po inaamin ko na kada opisina from different
towns.
From different towns, municipalities na pasyada. Sir, may daan niyo tupad. Pinapakanan ko, ma'am, sir, nga nakaabil ka ng tupad, waray pa po, nisusurat na ngaran, natana na information as per requirement and profile. Then, recommend lang nga ito yung NGO. But it is not a guarantee na makakarawat iya. Kaya danay kasi, diri nagsusumatin eksakto.
God.
Nagdudubli anira kay niri nga makakadubli pa hera di dubli. So we leave it to them kasi kung makialam kami, diri man kami maaram hira kay nagingilala. Nagsusumat sir. Kinarawat na ito.
Siya pareho it at social
consideration.
Basta money matters.
Money matters.
Yes, nagsusumat nga pensioner na SS, Just IS. Nabibisto na la kung tanging gin pa-validate na hit mga taga-DSWD.
Pero mapuri bala dama.
Kanda mo.
Ito mga seniors nila. Isa lang pera. Makakuha ko.
Baya ko, manakitan individual tupad. May da mga mga program nga para hit mga senior citizens associations na pwede na livelihood it usually livelihood program.
Una ko nga pakiana, narehistro na ba?
With Dolly.
Senior citizen ng Department of Labor.
Yadi na, kaamon working on it.
Nakapala
kami, nagkuha
na ngayon na nakuha nila. Napadala ko sa city ako. Pagakuha.
Dinadamo yan mga senior citizen nga kinupure ng pagrehistro. Kasi unang-una po let's just talk klari kita nga paano pagrehistro. Bagong papuan mga senior citizen nga iba nga waray pa nga makapagrehistro bihira maaram ko na patiunan
Damo pa ito
waray pa anyway man line din nga Borongan, we're talking about the whole province Eastern Samar. Itong pagrehistro po han Workers Association, particular nga ng senior citizen, unang-una dapat may ada niyo membro nga dili maubushin 20. Okay, dapat may ada ni minutes an iyo unang organizational meeting. Then kung diretso pwede i-gratify niyo ang constitutional bylaws. Ang problema naira nga dato sa ring pan mga senior citizen kay botoy di makamit maarang nga constitutional and bylaws. Direct problema po may ada po doli pro forma constitutional and bylaws. Hindi yun nala pag connect I mean kung na-apply ba ang mga article in hini, di na grupo. I-check niyo one by one. Kung diri po na-apply, i-delete. Kung na-apply, i-retain. Or kung waray di that, yung ginawanan, i-dugang. So, dapat po,
hindi kasi... pagsubda niyo mo excited mo sample.
Kasi waray na po, Tita Mayra, waray ang bubutang draft. So ano minahatag merla na photocopy this is the CBL nga tanan na makada Jesus kikitaon ko ginbutangan na laing correctional tape senior citizen good sinurat la niya pag-abot ta kay wala pangilano ditohan CBL kaibanan nga ran ng association wala niya kay smoke tape kapag kahilipot balik dapat kasi gipapapanit ang guide la po tiya. Dapat may ada ka sense of originality. Kaya talaga, i-scrutinize it naman. Remember, na ito na yung mga documents, ito nga entire folder that is reset an usa nga diha field office sa Doli, an ikaduha nga daha regional office, an ikatulo ha central office. Tutulo itin tinatagan nga mga opisina para imo repository han imo mga documents. Kay comes nga mawara iton may nakita panuhugutan. So
di na po problema.
Kami makukuha po it niyo within that day. Within that day, you can claim that. Kung aga kakinat to, siguro mga after 30 minutes, kuha it. Basta na
areglado.
Ito, ninunotaryuhan po ito. Ang ginunotaryuhan, duduhan na liwat nga papel. An application form, ngahan didtohan acknowledgement ang pinakakatapusan han constitutional and bylaws. So ang iba kasi nga nagdidiro-diretso dirilani na agiham sir dinadako ni takgasto kay kalawang ko kay inubos ang document gin panotaryuhan takay imagine la pera ito notaryo iton talaga mabugat takay kun waray pa grupo pag-restoryanto kay nga unlike iti ba nga may ada na diretso nira membership fee. So may ada na nira revolving fund nga kukuhaan mag-notaryo ang expense ang pag-process. So ginadali ila po iya nga pag paghimo in legal personality, Department of Labor. So hirainin ng mga qualified. Remember, ipanuyo po hini ngayon nga worker association is for mutual aid and protection lang. So direct pwede hit nga mga sugad kanina may nakadapisina mga youth. Security and Exchange Commission na po itira. May na parehistro para kanang grupuhin mga basketballista. Sports yan, SIC na yan. So senior citizen, Fisher Fox Association, and mga farmers, and ambulant vendors. Itong transport, pwede yan. And mga parag pedicab, and mga parag tricycle, pwede po itong
basta organized na.
Yeah, i-organize natin. Except ang mga cooperative, kay nganto na talaga tira CDA. So, asyat iubabaydan po, 100 pesos. 70 para ngantuhan membership fee, then a registration fee and 70 and 30 pesos naman is stamp tax. So that's all, 100 pesos. This is valid lifetime. Except ngayon magliliwang ka mo hit iyo ngaran. Okay lang ang officer. Diri na hindi except lang ngayon magliliwan hit ngaran hit association. Okay? Magliliwan hit address. Din ito niyo tigam ni. Inarawayan nga may padamay nagigikihakihan na. Hinamdam ka mo, nga naghimo ito ng mga asosasyon, nga di rin hiya forever, hikot presidente. May added dito term of office, itong mga articles, nga nasa rin may 2 years, may 3 years.
Okay.
Itatan po din higing problemahan, ngin may ada na po income.
Yes.
Nag-aaraway
na.
Di na naruriyagit pagbaya.
Di na naruriyagit pagbaya. Sisid yung paniya, kaya may ka nag-organisa, may ka nagpinangusod.
Owner na hiya.
Kunti, di rin ka riyag hitakan na hiyak may presidente, hitakan paggobernuhan, paghimo nala ka man ibang grupo. Mali. Paghimo ka man ibang grupo. So, baguhayan niyo yung asosasyon kay diri naman hiya ko nagmamando. Remember nga, bisan itong Republic of the Philippines, nag-iba-iba na lang presidente, Republic of the Philippines lagyan kita. So, dida sana, pag-adpanit nira, nan pag-restoryanin maupay, term of office, hit mga officers. So, yan. Then, submit to us, annual report, asan ihit pinaka-renewal nga, ibarula kami, kung active pa ba o inactive. Kung may ada financial good, mo ila kami simple nga financial flow. Pipira kwarta, pipira na gasto, pipira na itiyanay balance for transparency purposes. So, ganun lang. Specialty, valid lifetime.
Okay. So, registered ka na, residenta, isang senior barangay association na. Registered ka na. May dahit pwede buligan nga programa para seniors nila hadole.
Okay. Remember, narehistro na po nga ni kamo, may ada na ka-acquire na kamuhin legal personality. So, diri lahaduli.
Basta LGU.
You can access LGU, other national government agency nga pwede ay yung makabulig.
Okay.
Ang importante kasi pwede dida, ngay kamo, kinikilala ka mo, nga lihiti mo, nga usa nga grupo. Okay. So, diri lahaduli. Kami duli kung na siya nala, i-mention ko din yung Burungan. Ito nga rental nira manatunet in kandido nga senior citizen duli may nagatagan lang yung assistant.
Kinitakit din
So pinaagit itong kanasing may manatunet aliksi masaol ni taksik ay akit pag pinamangalsa nga gigbubugat edi pinanaga ng plastic chair rental nira actually I don't know kung na-exist pa yan. Damit anam na
pag mga tents, hasta mga tents, mga chairs, tables. Asya
So, pag ganahan na iba, kung nga livelihood assistance, nga pwede mayatag ito na mga ahensya nga, kung hain ka mo maaro yung bullying.
Okay. So, kung may let's say, kada tunet, natagan na, nga, so existing na ito nga ira kuan. Pwede pa makaharap na
Ganito. Waray problema po. Itong Face It Livelihood, waray ko ngayon ma-explain Itong Face It Livelihood po itong Department of Labor, totolo. May ada formation. Para nagtitikam. Sa katagang kamuhan, starter kit. nga mga livelihood. Itong po pagpiling ma'am itong aton livelihood assistance kung ano man itiya diri to kami. Hikamo po kasi kamot marami yung panginginahanglan.
Ngit ang kaya.
Oo, ngit iyo kaya. So binubuhatin kamay Adam Health Equity, ipinapartner it naman it local government unit. Nabulig it local government unit it dole ngayon kung hinupang ahensya nga makakabulig para darudakuin ngayon mo pa pagdumara kasi for example very technical nga pakabuhi. It DOST pwede sumulod. It DTI pwede sumulod. Itong dole iaada, LGU aada. So, TESDA para ni skills training, nagko-converge kami, nagko-collaborate para maging sustainable ang project.
Okay.
Kaya you could just imagine, kung millions it amount ito nga livelihood assistance, waray ngayon mga skill na nakadto, patay ito. Sayang lang mga buwis ang tao, di ngayon kakabulig. So, didang formation, mga starter kit kung ano't kinahanglanan. Remember, diri mahatag it dole hin kwarta. Mahatag po kami ang tools and jigs. Equipment, ito niyo mga panginginahanglan. Not money.
Okay.
Not money. Ikaduha, didahan formation, may dapat tinatawag na enhancement. Kinita kami nga, Jesus, makaluluoy. Na Excel, duro ang pagpinaniguro, dara kay limitado lang nahiyatag ang dole, kaya hahamon mama kung dili ka mo inari. Limitado. Kulang pa. Diri pahira na nagiging progresibo. Pwede in enhancement. Example, di Binobo. Di Binobo, ito nera si BRM dito, it naging pipinarakas siya dangat mga turista. Ever since, duli nakada na it. Nag-formation, nag-enhancement. Binagyo. Na-wash out. Na-wash out. Nawara niya mga kuwan. Binalik ang duli parahan restoration. Asya tani katulong na phase. So, we have that formation, enhancement and restoration.
Okay.
Pero ba, ambot itam seniors din na
ayaw pa mo ingali mo, ngit aman hatagit tuli, grant, diri loan.
Asya na nga rin, maupay kay, pero we also have to make a report, di ba?
Of course.
Magre-report.
Kay karagman kung diri. Waray ta report, di ka tanay babaro ko na ano na iton.
So, kunta, may the existing na nga minakurili nga ginhimo sa nga association. Ano? Nakahimo na ginamit ang kung ano man nga funds dito nga kwan. So, pag-enhance, pwede pag-enhance and then di pa pag-restore kay
waray pa man.
Enhancement kung baga kuan. Okay. Asya
kung may ada na ma'am existing, may dana niyo existing yan nga pakabuhi. Pero ma'am kinita din ka mo nagkakape. Ngahi manuan din.
Nagkakape? Okay.
Din ka
I'm
mo
talking about
senior citizen.
May danang senior. Asya at nalay igsusumat ano. Kay mga senior man kami, naghinana na kami hen. Pinakaya kami from the barangay. Antes kami taganan amon Ira, kinahanglan ko no livelihood ang gamitan. Ano? Wala kami pag-question. Pero nag-implement na kami at maghimo kami hen garden. Didahan amon ang tupad hit amon senior citizens building. So, pag siri nga kinahanglan livelihood, may nam not architect, may nam agriculturist nga member dida ano. So, siniring nga napon, pwede ta inhimuon nga livelihood. It plantita siya na, it plants siya na, ginadako it kita, ngin may da na, ano. So, I immediately converted it to a ornamental plants culture and garden. We will grow, we will sell mga spices, ornamental plants. So, asya titang plano. So, ang amon kwarta, ginamit ng didahit nga paghimuhan structure ko da paghimo pagkuanin alad gidkuan so gadit ano. So, asya tanang ginamitan ng kwarta. Right now, almost human na ang paghimo hit nga pag kunta base di naman gi pupurote an aman nagamit na ng kwarta. Yan na it aman face pananum na. Ginhimuan na nga kami hen shade net kunta sugad hit. Pero damo pwede tamit kinaw. Pwede ko it gamitin pag-apply. Kasi itam kaya, we enjoy at the same time Well,
Butangin niyo yung
Kami.
mabigahing coffee bar.
dami anit na sa pwede maghalo-halo bida. Wala, pwede ka lang maghalo-halo.
Pag nambidan may masahian, ang mga PWDs natin, asyat bida ma'am nga area?
No, ada kami hatabok.
What
Bida hit amon ko, hit amon,
Boulevard.
ano tit ngaran hit amon na
Dahil may gym niya.
may studio.
tama.
So, ada bida nagtulpan. So, pwede it na ma-enhance. Makada kami ha iyo for enhancement. So, thank you. Kay, wala na nam isusunod nga aaruan. Wala na nam talaga aaruan nga isusunod. Pero, set up namin. Amon nga ni, I am so grateful. I am so happy nga it bayanihan spirit di tabok. It was just a matter of asking them, mga senior citizens, kay kung magbayad pa kami hand labor, di nang kaya. So, we have 10 people, 10 seniors, young seniors, may pa-old senior nga capable talaga ng nagkuhan nga. Sige, mabulig. So, anyway, nahimo itnam. But, di pa kami makakapag enhance.
Pero ma'am, I would suggest i-register lang niyo.
Di ba kinat na kami last week ka iyo?
Awarak nila siguro ma'am. Kung okay na yan,
pwede dire pa. Nasa nang inahidang, itang sekretary upod nga pag-notarize na lang.
Okay. If hindi naman nabato, ma'am, may raiyot nga. May mga flower
mga boxes associated era project
it na. Tapos may na ng barangay road tipasulod o pamamutangan
na-imagine namin mamakadal
kasi nakita na nga niya
o makontinue na mga dihatabo
sana ay napadaman para pamising
inuupuan padaman
sa dahil tibising di kangit niya mga hubog na nga pinangingihian
magkawin na nahihi kay
so anyway anak dapat isa nga ipapakian na kung pwede kami
pwede po ma'am, pwede
parang established na pero baka magpait kuroanan kay we won't make money hindi kami makapagpapananom magsisiblings from livelihood it nam engineer
sige
okay will you be seeing us dito
ay damang kita hit kay second term naman yan kay itong mga barangay association presidents seniors you only have to serve 2 terms and that is 4 years nakamana kami ang 2 years yan na kami amon second term
yan ay sinisiring nga paghimo na information ito yung mga legacy
at least
singit na nga din sa iba sure when nasa akay may nanam kuno pananap panunon doon. Ito nga generation ko niyo siya na nasa rin na may nanam panunon doon Ma'am Nida nasa gadit sa anyway thank you ano pa at anat mga ipapakian itong parte naman kita nga tukitahin sa SPES program
special program
okay
ito na SPES program liwat haya na may adala punduhan Eastern Samar nga 1.7 million. So, before it nakapag-implementa ni SPES, may adahit nira mga pledges nga igin sasubmit nga dihadoli nga may kaakibat liwat nga annual investment plan kasi this is counterparting. So, to give you an overview of this, I think I have a record on SPES. So, an SPES nag-implementar lahan yan nga 2021 this is a consolidated report on SPES on Eastern Samar may adala kita munisipyo nga nag-implementar hin 13 so I just don't know kaya noon iba might as well siguro direct nasa nga direct priority waray siguro yung kapunduhi kasi po nasa rin nga kanina may ada counterparting for example third class municipality iton hiring rate nga gimbabasihan was 9,241 third class in hiya it minimum hindi dapat nga masusweldo iton SPES beneficiary is 420 pesos 0.05 centavos
Per
per day.
Okay, gamapuri ga ito.
Tapos, may dahin niya 60%, ini nga 420, igagasto ni LGU, 60 iya, it 40. So, makakaduha yung payroll. Bata.
So, pero itong city, pera ka percent?
Itong city,
60.
waray hirap mag-implement yan.
Kung 60, that is
60-40.
Mas bigger pa itong city kasi this is just third class municipality.
Nahimong mong tala puntahin 240 per day, it iba ato na.
Adi na hamon. Tama po.
Dila siguro nakakakuan itong mga mayors, nga bulig na maithay.
Actually, siguro darahang pandemya kasi, ang mga fan nagdare-realign, Asian siringan kung gigapore talaga, I do understand nga. Diri na siringan, diri priority. Nagkamay ada yung realignment because nagamit mo rin mga importante. Waray, depleted na naman. So, waray yun ang makakuan. But, ang iba naman, let na nga nakapag-sumat, haamon, anira lala binuhat, di implemented 100%.
Special program for the employment of students.
For students?
Yes.
Kay kami hanuna, siya mait na nakukuha, pero wala pa kuan good. Wala counterparting adahan dole, di dala.
100% po, no?
Basta di dala atan amon nga province na implement. Basta estudyante ka, kinakada ka ng space program. Nakakabuling naman. So, mga summer, di ba? Summer usually nag-i-implement itong mga estudyante, pagpapauli, pinaaalayon, pinaka-casual. Para may nira naman, i-enroll na oras na.
Maapay ka diyan nga programa, no? Kasi, kung tatagan ininihin importansya, I mean, maupay nga pagdumara, itbata, while nag-aaram hiya, ati eskwela, nakakatama, tama pa tita Mayra, nakakakuha hin augmentation, source of fund, niya mga gigwawaray, nga deserving na kabataan para makasustain pag-enroll. Ang kuha kasi nini, kinukulawan naman, ilang mga registration, nga dapat talaga, i-enroll in. I-enroll in nga irang kikita.
May the grade.
May da.
Proof kunta. May da kunta masering nga no less than.
Wara.
Basta estudyante. Bisan sa pidla.
Basta pasar.
Basta pasado.
So, siya ito niyan, ang pinakamaupayin para may danira experiensya, itong real world of work.
Kung nasusugad, sometimes nagka-casual nga, kaya dahil nagpipinanuro ko.
Kasi nga nila kung gagamitin yung maupay, itong mga local government units, talaga ma-expose sila.
Parang OJT kumbaga.
Yan!
Asya at tama kung nakapag-implement.
Nagpipinamuro ko, like, di na kalamang nira. So, anyway, kay Ada nagmamaniho, di na hit mga.
Asya nga na haamon, dapat contain hiya nga bulig kay may nang tinatawag po nga space baby yan nga year space ka next year na naman space ka dapat para masustainable ba madugtungan nga diting pag-graduate na buligan ka talaga nga na din paging professional di ka na kukuryan so asya content ang sa pahit nga panuyo but it doesn't happen, it doesn't apply to all kay at iba nga mayor na darang kaguti liwat nasa ringira iba naman para makagamtaman.
So, mga 1 year 2 years.
Isa ka lang.
Kung may dahil
summer and then Christmas vacation.
Pwede po yan. Kasi implementation in hiya whole year round. Pwede ang bakasyon, sin break.
May summer break. Summer hire. Mga summer hire. Di pa pa-serve niyo hit government after nakagraduate wala you're on your own, thank you Dole.
Pero kung maupay kahit kung mahi-implement yan na itong na pakikikuan hit Dole nga hit sa LGU kay di na naman ang ura-urahan ito LGU labot pa nakakakuha hindi rin ako ito ni estudyante
because of that counterparting kung 300,000 pondo itong local government unit, for example, it's 60%, pipirahin 300,000. Then, masalid man ito ulit, mamandamo nga beneficiary.
Kung siguro kung naintindihan lait itong mga mga local government unit.
Actually, yan na din magiging problema. Kasi itong Mandana Silo, one of the rebuild function is SPES. So, it mag-implement na talaga yun itong local government unit. And in fact, they are strengthening now itong mga LGU at aton mga peso, nga mga designate la, kaya rin taon, sige pa yan na, magiging item na yan.
Mahihan na naging kikino.
Asya, siguro na iyo pa talaga
pero talaga ang training ito, nantikapot, badugo talaga. Pero at 10 days, nga ada ko dura gawas-gawas.
Asya, hands-on training. Tinuod ito.
So, magkaupayan at warang sabutan ang atuan. Yan nga nihin at mga warang nakakit pa-break. Warang nakakit pa-break. Yadihin at mga viewers, mga listeners, Hidang Andaleza, Manalorna Formales, they're watching. Ida Lazana Hoffman, maulipay nga kulap everyone. Kuno, hi Ida, Manalorna, hello everyone, good afternoon. Manalorna from Raagas Formales. Mirna Arellano is watching from Manila. Dang Andaleza is watching. May niya kuandidi. Hinena Ellard is always watching Hit Atan Senior Moments. She's watching from Las Vegas. Maupay nga halaga iyo Mananida na hiabot gihap ako pagkilaw hit iyo program. Thank you Mananida. Andy Villalon. Oh, hi Arag. Ikabud Soul Sammy, your brother. Maupay nga kulab Senior Moments watching again from Novaliches. Raven Hernandez, kuan main, lunding adolot, she's watching Senior Moments. Hidang nasiring. Madam, on process na it at application. Thanks, Sir Alexi, for the info. Good afternoon to all of you. More power. May panasiring. Atinits ang Manamayra. Ngalaong, Sir Alexi, sunod na it nga plano, pwede himuon it am center nga coffee shop. Same time, mapalit hirahin plants. Wow, ha? Nasugalitiya. Possible? Pwede kang
actually, kung may ito mamayra ang mga programa noon ng gobyerno may adit mga agrotourism. Makadto ka, ma'am, nananamit vegetable. Dito, mapitas ka na lang ng gusto nga utanan, ipapaluto ng dida, ito ka na makaan.
Good idea. Secretary na niya. Good idea. We might,
kaya ito yung lugar, yan dapat na yung ganit bukid.
So, but you will be seeing us. We will visit you talaga. Yun ang hitam kuan. Kay, may punhas na itamon building, hit pag-upaya.
Diri kami, ma'am, infrastructure, waray po itong doli. But tools and jigs lang kami, hit mga livelihood projects.
Okay. So, if we make our senior citizen a part of the livelihood program,
pwede po.
Pwede na.
Dala kami, yung request nga, teremplate kape, ang titimplahan nga kape, kung mga anod na klaseng kape.
Dire nga, ginagtuturo kuan.
Iba na kasi na magiging counterpart, kung hinit magiging accredited co-partner, kung local government unit, hirit magpro-provide iyo structure para iyo coffee bar, para mga senior citizen.
Okay.
Kami naman ang ma-provide at mga gamit dito ng mga equipment, machines na kinanglanan dito sa ulit para ma-process it niya kape. Marasa na tinapay.
Habang hindi nga-appreciate it mga tanong. Mapalit it. Kaupay la. So, asya itong livelihood na pinili. Asya itong kaya, at the same time, na-enjoy kami hit process.
Nature. At the same time, nature. Because ito kami
bukid. Mga senior na kami, hindi na kami pwede na magkuhan kamanukan.
Pagkakanto ng Tita Mayra, malista na gadla ng mga
okay, it's been nice having you here. Very, very, very educational, very informative ngayon atin program. kaupay bangin may part 2 ngin may nanhingalin ta
I was thinking nga nagtatouch tala unong kang kanan mga senior teenage nga no mayroon kanan mga junior
kay so na pangatanan lang tao so
di man lang senior set na pamati
tama
so anyway
so
kuan na time na
ano mo parting shots
okay thank you very much Ma'am Neda, Ma'am Myra for inviting me. It's really nice to talk to you na nag-i-enjoy kita ako direct pagadak senior pero tikad to na maya pa. But anyway, thank you very much and mga namamati haiyo for sharing also amon mga naipahamtang ko ang mga programa ng Department of Labor and Employment din hinihiling nga venue. Thank you very much po.
Kung may niyo questions, comments nga kuan it opisina ni engineer Alex Idoli yada light alang-alang.
Opo, alang-alang lang.
Alang-alang. National Highway Masayon kuan. So anyway, I guess we have to say goodbye.
Kita na tatapuson nga naton na senior moments para yan ang adlaw. See you then again on another time. See you next Monday. Maghaharam pang ngahaw kita.
Stay
safe.
Same station. Sige.
Bye.
Bye.
Proclaim Christ in season and out of season. I would like to express my profound gratitude to all the priests, the religious men and women, and their lay co-workers in the Diocese of Borongan for their creativity in proclaiming Christ in the midst of the constraints brought about by COVID-19. Unconventional approaches in proclaiming the gospel were explored and used. But you did not compromise orthodoxy. You made a concrete response to the challenges of the new evangelization. With creativity, passion, courage, and love, you continue proclaiming Christ. to Saint Paul in his second letter to Timothy, you proclaim the word in season and out of season. I am sure Christ is happy for you.
We are blessed, blessed 100-fold, the cross of Jesus Christ in our holy shores.
Is now 500 years, awesome to behold. He has made us all new. We belong to His fold.
The gospel is a blessing, but also a mission. To the poor and the children, we bring His salvation.
To the rest of the world, His message of compassion. To all of humanity, His challenge of conversion. We are blessed, we are loved, we are called, we are sent.
We will teach, we will serve. We are Christ, we are church.
San Lorenzo Ruiz, San Pedro Calungsod, oh holy Filipinos, bring to the good Lord
Our praise and gratitude, our offering of love, our pledge to be faithful to the last drop of blood.
We are blessed, we are loved, we are called, we are sent.
We will teach, we will serve. We are Christ, we are years of jubilee, 500 years of blessing, 500 years of praises unto life everlasting. 500 years of jubilee, 500 years of blessing, 500 years of praises unto
Having consulted the congregation for the causes of the saints, we, by our apostolic authority, decree that the venerable servant of God, Michael McGivney, be given the title of Blessed.
I think the beatification was a message to the world, sharing what Knights have known all along, that Father McGivney is a faithful friend to Catholic men, families, and parish priests. He is a model for all of us. And now it's been proven that he is also a powerful intercessor. Just as Father McGivney saw the problems of his parishioners and sought practical solutions, so he continues to respond to the prayers of those who seek his help for problems big and small. I believe Father McGivney can connect in a special way with young Catholics. Despite his early death, Father McGivney's quiet but determined leadership still reverberates today. Young priests and seminarians can look to Father McGivney as a humble yet strong model for their own ministry.
When Luke and I were in college back in 2011 to 2015, our first Knights Council was a college council, and that surrounded us with young men who were faith-filled, sacrificial, and really, I think, jump-started our vocation, both of us, into the seminary.
From an evangelization standpoint, McGivney has been very pivotal in both of our lives. How can we step out of the church and reach people? What's a parish priest in the 2020s called to do?
I remember reading the book Parish Priest. Toward the end, Blessed Michael McGivney was reflecting on a situation that occurred years before where he encountered a young woman who had passed away. And he was quoted as saying something like, "I want to face death like her." So not only did Blessed McGivney look to the saints for help, but he also looked to the ordinary people at his parish. I couldn't think of a better model of a parish priest who did that.
When you're willing to enter into formation, when you're willing to open your heart and allow the universal church to form you, this is a clear image of what it looks like when you are willing to go all in. We too can open our hearts like Blessed McGivney. He shows that it's possible.
Father McGivney Catholic High School was founded in 2012. Father McGivney's mission and focus to make sure to get out there and show that his Catholic faith was a way to kind of strengthen the community was a perfect legacy for what we wanted our school and our students to emulate.
I would say Father McGivney is active and alive for me today. His example of helping others and being selfless shows us how we should behave and live our lives.
The beatification of Michael J. McGivney means a great deal to this school. I'd like to say that the second miracle has already happened by opening up this Catholic school. This was the first Catholic school open in this diocese in 80 years, and we continue to excel academically, spiritually, and drawing our kids ever closer to Jesus.
Every day, at the end of the day, we all pray to Father McGivney. I do feel Father McGivney would hear my prayer because he cares for others.
We are currently expanding. Our enrollment's continuing to go up. We've had tremendous support from our Knights, and that's the real strength of, I think, our school. We're looking forward to continued growth and moving forward.
In my own life and in the lives of so many that we hear from, Father McGivney, I would say, is first and foremost a friend. We know from the heartfelt prayer requests that we get and the favors that are submitted to the Father McGivney Guild that those who call upon him experience a closeness of his presence in their daily struggles, in their doubts and the questions that they're grappling with, in times of sickness and family strife, and even in periods of financial stress and unemployment. These are problems that Father McGivney dealt with as a priest, and he responds to them now from his place in heaven.
It was actually very scary because we've gotten these phone calls before from my father.
They took him off at 1:30 in the morning, and I found out that he was being admitted and had COVID.
I thought in my head, I don't think he's going to survive this.
It was hard. But I was blessed to have some of the Knights tell me we were doing this prayer vigil.
It was a time when all of us were extremely concerned. Turning to Blessed Father McGivney was the logical thing to do.
We said the Rosary, the Divine Mercy Chaplet, and then, of course, the prayer to Father McGivney.
A lot of people didn't know Vince that came, but it was just the call to prayer got to them. That's a tribute to the Knights in action.
Then the next day, he actually started to improve. And they called and said I could come and see him.
My wife entered the room. She put her hand in mine, and then when I opened my eyes and saw it was my wife, I really brightened up. It wasn't until I came home that I heard about the prayer vigil on January 18th. It all came together for me as to why my recovery happened very shortly after that.
We ask for the intercession of Father McGivney because it is God working through the saints. The prayer vigil, he did something because we can see the fruits.
I'm convinced that the Blessed Mother and Father McGivney in their intervention allowed me the opportunity to let me complete my mission here on earth. There was this emotion of love, which I'm getting emotional now speaking about it, that they would do this. I have such a new understanding on the power of prayer. It is real. When more than 2 or 3 people get together to pray, Christ is in their presence, and this is powerful. He can change anything.
Charity and unity were the founding principles of the order, and for Father McGivney, they were not abstractions. Charity and unity call us to action. They demand the time and energy of any man who would be a Knight of Columbus. Catholics in Connecticut saw Father McGivney's self-sacrifice day after day. It inspired many to become Knights and to unite their own efforts in selfless acts of charity. That legacy lives on today in the 2 million members of the Knights of Columbus who serve their communities and serve the Church in countless ways.
When Father Michael McGivney founded the Knights of Columbus, it really was about charity, and it's that charitable effort that really is the glue that bonds us together as Knights of Columbus.
La beatificación del Padre McGivney implica para nosotros la realidad de lo que es practicar la caridad. Implica perseverancia, implica guía, implica una forma de vivir dándose al otro.
The charitable work we do today defines the Knights of Columbus. We're a Catholic organization taking our beliefs out into the community, the way Father McGivney dreamed of back when he founded the Knights.
Well, the Knights of Columbus is a family organization. That's what we're here to do, is to support families and to bring the love of God just by providing those things that those families need.
When Father McGivney founded the Knights of Columbus, it was to take care of other Catholics, of other people in the community that needed assistance. And so I really believe Father McGivney, if he were around today, would be right here side by side with us doing this service, because it is what the Knights are all about.
Father McGivney's vision for the Knights of Columbus was to be a protector of families, and that includes at all stages of life.
The Mother of Life Pregnancy Center is a free service to our community. The support of the Knights sometimes is overwhelming because it's constant.
Every once in a while, we're challenged with raising money for an ultrasound machine, and at that time, the old ultrasound machine that we had donated about 10 years ago was on its last legs.
A mother almost immediately unites with her child when she gets to see the light. And the Knights started like wildfire, getting the ball rolling to raise the money.
Everyone obviously resorted to their prayer cards and prayed constantly to Father McGivney's intercession.
We prayed to Father McGivney
We asked everybody when we started the project to pray, and lo and behold, that couple from Bristol who really helped us just happened to stop by here one day.
We told them about the amount that we needed to raise, and the first words out of their mouth were, "We want to pay for half your ultrasound machine." We met the grant like that.
Throughout the whole project with the ultrasound machine, Father McGivney was watching over us, and I feel Father McGivney had an influence. Just the joy that they had that the machine was there and the machine was running. It just solidifies our mission.
We had the relic here of Blessed Father Michael McGivney that we were able to venerate and touch the sonogram machine. I am sure that Father McGivney will be involved in our future here. We do pray for his canonization. We know that he will intercede for our clients because he has a heart and passion for them.
The feast day of Blessed Michael McGivney is August 13th, and it's a day for knights and their families and for all those devoted to Father McGivney to celebrate America's newest blessed. It's a day for priests to celebrate one of their own and to model their ministry after the humble and hardworking and effective example of Father McGivney. It's also a day for lay people to embrace their role in parish life and the mission of charity, unity, and fraternity that Father McGivney set when he founded the Knights of Columbus. The Church has recognized the heroic virtue and holiness of this parish priest, and all Catholics have the privilege on this feast day to come together in prayer and petition. So we thank God for the gift of Blessed Michael McGivney, and we ask for his intercession. As I present my first annual report as Supreme Knight, I am filled with gratitude. It is a privilege to serve my brother knights and the entire order of the Knights of Columbus. I am only here because of those who came before me. I am a third-generation knight. My grandfather joined in 1915 before he left for World War I. My father, a naval officer, was a faithful member of our parish's council. It was their example of fidelity and service that inspired me to become a college knight in 1983. After years of military and public service, I became increasingly involved at the local and state council levels. I was inspired by my brother knights in the District of Columbia and was honored to serve as their state deputy. On the day I was elected Supreme Knight, I said that for the sake of the order, I have given my all, and for the future of the order, I will give still more. Like you, I draw on my love for Jesus Christ, His Church, and the Knights of Columbus, and I am honored to serve with you. Today I will highlight our recent achievements in charity, unity, and fraternity. I will offer a vision of our continued rise in courage and faith. I wish we could be together in person, but for the second year in a row, we must gather virtually. Initially, we had hoped to hold this convention in Denver, but Colorado was still shut down when we had to finalize our plans. And while we cannot be together, the Knights of Columbus is already on the move. From the United States to Ukraine, from the Philippines to France, from Canada to South Korea, from Mexico to Poland, the Knights of Columbus is marching forward. We are leading the way with service and sacrifice. We are showing the way through faith in action. Make no mistake, now is the time for knights. The past 18 months have amplified old challenges and given rise to new ones. They face our families, our faith, and our culture as a whole. My brother knights, we are coming through one crisis only to find that we face still more hurdles. Our mission is to meet them head on and overcome them together. Once again, the time has come for the Knights of Columbus to put our faith into action. We must ask ourselves, what is the best way to do this? I believe we can find our answer by looking at the lives of two men. The first is St. Joseph. Last December 8th marked the 150th anniversary of Joseph being named patron of the Universal Church. To mark this occasion, Pope Francis declared a year of St. Joseph. The Holy Father is calling our attention to the foster father of our Lord for good reason. The world is in desperate need of men in the mold and with the heart of St. Joseph. At the start of the year, the Pope praised St. Joseph's creative courage and called upon every Catholic to adopt this virtue. He said, in the face of difficulty, we can either give up and walk away or somehow engage with it. And he continued, at times, difficulties bring out resources we did not even think we had. St. Joseph is the proof. My brother knights, these words are meant for us. You and I are called to creative courage. Our duty in these difficult times is to be bold in faith, to be men of obedience and men of action, like St. Joseph before us. The day I was installed as Supreme Knight, my first act was to consecrate my administration to St. Joseph. Then, standing in St. Mary's Church, the place of our founding, I said that St. Joseph shows us how to witness to the world. He did this in two ways. First, St. Joseph embraced his role as guardian of the family. He protected our Blessed Mother, Mary, and our Savior, Jesus Christ. He guided them through danger and kept them from harm's way. We, too, must be guardians of the family because Catholic families need defenders. In this time, when the family faces many challenges and a hostile culture, we must do our part to help men build strong marriages and raise faithful children. Second, St. Joseph served as guardian of the truth. The truth that Joseph protected had a name, Jesus Christ, who is the truth incarnate. We too must defend this truth. We live in a time of bigotry and intolerance. Key truths about life, marriage, the nature of the family, and the meaning of freedom are increasingly denied and even vilified. Yet this makes our commitment to the truth all the more important. Now is the time to inspire our fellow Catholics to stand for what's right. St. Joseph is our guide. Let us pray for his intercession, and let us make his creative courage our own for the sake of the family and the truth. The other man to whom we should look is Blessed Michael McGivney, our founder. This is our first convention since his beatification. Where St. Joseph shows us what to do, Father McGivney shows us how to do it. Like us, Blessed Michael McGivney lived in a time of families in crisis. He saw a hostile culture and a hurting church, yet he did not shrink from these challenges. In the mold of St. Joseph, he stepped into the breach with creative courage. Father McGivney listened to the Lord, fought for the family and the faith, and devoted himself to our Blessed Mother. Ultimately, our founder rallied the men of his parish to lead lives of charity, unity, and fraternity. That was Father McGivney's answer, and it is still our answer today. Charity, unity, and fraternity are the solutions to the most serious problems of our time. Last October, the leaders of the order gathered in Hartford's Cathedral of St. Joseph for the historic Beatification Mass. There, we were graced by the presence of the boy whose healing was attributed to our founder's intercession and officially declared a miracle. His name is Mikey Shackle, the son of a brother Knight, our general agent in Tennessee. Who could forget that moment when Mikey presented the relic of Father McGivney? Pope Francis issued a special decree of beatification. He praised our founder's zeal for the proclamation of the gospel, which made him an outstanding witness of Christian solidarity and fraternal assistance. These words are a powerful validation of our founder's vision and of our own work. They remind us that Father McGivney's life is an inspiration to the Church and to the world. The Beatification Mass was a great celebration, but it was not only that, it was just as much a call to action. By elevating our founder, the Lord has called us to greater depths of courage and faith, and greater heights of charity, unity, and fraternity. In the beatification of Blessed Michael McGivney, the Lord has not only confirmed where the Knights have been in the past, He is showing us where we must go in the future. We go forward confident that the intercession of our founder is guiding us, and we go forward with renewed hope for his canonization. This is the first Supreme Convention where we call him blessed. May the day soon come when we call him saint. Now let us watch a brief video of the day our founder was beatified. It will give you a sense of how wonderful it was and why it matters for all of us.
To this day, Father McGivney's holiness of life and exemplary service continue to inspire priests throughout America and around the world, and his vision for an active and engaged laity serves as a witness to the power of spiritual brotherhood and charity.
Having consulted the Congregation for the Causes of Saints, we, by our apostolic authority, decree that the venerable servant of God,
Michael McGivney, Presbyter Diocesanus, Fundator Equitum Colombi, Beati, nomi imposterium appelletur.
Michael McGivney, diocesan priest, founder of the Knights of Columbus, henceforth be given the title of Blessed, given in Rome in the year 2020, the 8th of our pontificate, Francis.
In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen.
Father McGivney would be proud of the order and proud of us. What he began, we continue. What he gave us, we pass on. The credit goes to all knights, near and far, but one man deserves special mention for his heroic efforts. He is our past Supreme Knight, Carl Anderson. Under Carl's leadership, the order grew dramatically in every measurable way. Our charitable donations soared by more than 60%. Insurance in force nearly tripled. Membership rose by nearly 400,000 and surpassed 2 million. And the order expanded internationally for the first time in a century to Europe and mainland Asia. Carl has also been a faithful steward of our founder's cause. During his tenure, Father McGivney was declared both venerable and blessed. Few brother knights have done more for our founder. Few have done more for our order. The Knights of Columbus owes past Supreme Knight Anderson a a profound debt of gratitude. We will honor his contributions in person at next year's convention. But for now, on behalf of the millions of lives he touched, I thank our worthy past Supreme Knight, Carl Anderson, for his 20 years of faithful leadership. I am often asked what it means to be a Knight of Columbus. My answer is simple. A knight lives by faith and leads by creative courage. Faith and courage compel us to be men of charity. It is often said, where there's a need, there's a knight, and we prove it every day. We feed hungry families, give coats to kids, protect the vulnerable from catastrophe, and defend the unborn. We rebuild churches in the Middle East and build homes for the homeless in our communities. But we are not merely volunteers. We are servants of Christ who see his face in those we serve. Ours is a charity that evangelizes. Ours is a charity that brings people to faith, even as it springs from our own. Faith and courage inspire us to be men of unity. The Knights are known as the strong right arm of the Catholic Church. We have always been firmly united with the Pope, the Vicar of Christ. We stand with our bishops, support our priests, and aid in the formation of seminarians and religious. We strengthen the family, the domestic church, by helping men build strong marriages and raise faithful children. We strive to be the family's first line of defense, encouraging men to embrace their vocation to heroic generosity and self-sacrifice. We are called to protect the truth from those who deny it and bring the truth to those who need it. Our fidelity to Christ is the source of our unity. We are proud to proclaim it far and wide. Finally, faith and courage bind us together in fraternity. A Knight of Columbus is never alone. Each one of us stands side by side with brothers in our parish and around the world. At a time when men are increasingly isolated, we offer solidarity. At a time when men are searching, we offer meaning and mission. Fraternity amplifies all we do. It broadens our charity and deepens our unity. Alone, a man can do good works. Alongside his brother knights, he can rise to greatness. So what does it mean to be a knight? It means a life of faith in action, a life of boldness in brotherhood, a life worth living. Catholic men are looking for nothing less. In the Knights of Columbus, they will find it. There is no better proof of the Knights' witness of faith in action than the past 18 months. The COVID-19 pandemic was an unexpected crisis, yet we rose to meet it in extraordinary ways. This was not our first pandemic. Father McGivney died during a pandemic less than a decade after our founding. A century ago, the Knights of Columbus confronted the Spanish flu and emerged even stronger. This pandemic will be no different. Our duty was clear from the start. When loss and suffering struck our parishes and communities, the Knights responded with service and sacrifice. We quickly rallied around a new initiative, Leave No Neighbor Behind. It focused our energy on the most urgent needs, such as feeding the hungry and caring for the vulnerable. As Knights, we know our neighbors are found far and wide. Wherever they are, we are there too. All told, under the banner of Leave No Neighbor Behind, Knights donated nearly $7.7 million to community and parish projects, as well as 1.2 million pounds of food and almost 250,000 pints of blood. We supported nearly 300,000 struggling parishioners and brother Knights. Behind these numbers are stories of Knights serving neighbors. In Colorado, Council 16052 helped run a mobile food bank in the Rocky Mountains. Our brothers braved the worst winter weather to bring food to hungry families. Month after month, they showed up, putting the needs of others ahead of themselves. In Ontario, Council 1387 assisted international college students who couldn't get home because of travel restrictions. Every week, like clockwork, Knights showed up with boxes of food and other supplies for neighbors they'd never met. Across North America, the Knights rallied alongside the Little Sisters of the Poor. The Supreme Council in more than 20 jurisdictions provided food, water, and medical supplies to help the sisters serve the elderly. As Bob Novak, Grand Knight of Council 4977, said, "We're big brothers to the Little Sisters." Knights supported thousands of indigenous families across the continent. We brought truckloads of food worth more than $335,000 to the Acoma, Navajo, and Zuni nations in New Mexico, Arizona, and Utah. We did the same for Native Hawaiian communities in remote First Nation villages in Canada. Indigenous communities in far distant locations were some of the hardest hit. The Supreme Council sent $215,000 in life-saving oxygen supplies to the Amazon region, and another $146,000 to build oxygen plants in Peru. Pope Francis has urged all Catholics to go to the peripheries, and the Knights of Columbus does just that. Leave No Neighbor Behind will be seen as a proud chapter in our history. It is a case study in creative courage. The pandemic was a time of unprecedented need, and the Knights of Columbus proved equal to the task. Here are a few stories that prove it. They show Knights in action across the world.
The Knights of Columbus have become guardian angels, not only here at St. Martin's for the Little Sisters, but around the country.
A lot of people out there feel alone, they feel scared. And so this is really putting our faith into practice to let them feel a little bit of consolation and that they are not left behind.
I believe the charitable work we do today defines the Knights of Columbus, taking our beliefs out into the community, the way Father McGivney dreamed of.
Thanks, Knights of Columbus, for helping us and leaving no neighbors behind.
Señor nos pone ángeles, como son los caballeros de Colón que nos han ayudado con miles de dólares.
We're a band of brothers, and that's certainly what you're witnessing now.
We led with service and charity through the worst of the crisis, and we will continue to do so through our COVID recovery program. This effort has the same urgency as Leave No Neighbor Behind. The pandemic caused parishes to close or severely limit Mass attendance. Many of our councils put their activities on hold. Through the COVID recovery program, we will re-energize our parishes and restore our councils. The past 18 months gave us a new appreciation for our bonds of brotherhood. We must resume our work to strengthen families, ensure financial security, and serve the least fortunate among us. This work is inherently tied to council life. The Knights must also assist in the renewal of our parishes. The pandemic made clear how much we need the Mass. As the crisis pressed on, many were cut off from the Eucharist. Now, as we slowly recover, we must invite the faithful back. Our councils must work hand in hand with our pastors. We aren't just the strong right arm of the Church, we are also the strong right arm of our parish priests. I am grateful for all the councils implementing the COVID recovery program. Around the world, Brother Knights are knocking on doors, making phone calls, and welcoming parishioners back to Mass. We are also restoring many of our larger initiatives. The St. John Paul II National Shrine in Washington, D.C. reopened to the public in June. Pilgrims can once again visit the shrine and experience its spiritual riches. Grand Knight Armando Mena of Council 3162 in San Diego summed up our duty. He said, "There is something for every man to do, for as Christ told St. Francis, go rebuild my church." I echo these wise words. The Knights of Columbus must be leaders in the recovery, and all of us have a role to play. I am confident we'll step up with courage, and we will emerge stronger as an order and a church. As the recovery continues, our charitable work is rising, and it is doing so amid a trying time. Much of the suffering caused by the pandemic is still with us. Many struggles that existed before have worsened. In this time of great need, we must redouble our commitment to our Faith in Action programs. Understandably, many of our traditional charitable activities took a back seat to more immediate needs. Some were simply not possible because of shutdowns and restrictions. Despite these headwinds, Knights still set a high standard for charitable service. Last year, we stepped up with more than $150 million in donations, and we stepped forward with more than 47 million hours of hands-on volunteer service. From Asia to the Americas to Europe, we served countless worthy causes with innovation and creative courage. It is an achievement we can be proud of, especially in a pandemic. I was personally inspired by our support for the homeless in Waterbury, Connecticut. Last month, I joined Brother Knights as they put together bags of supplies. They're known as Brian bags, and they're named after a local homeless man who died because he lacked support. Connecticut Knights refuse to let that happen to other homeless, and it is our privilege to serve our neighbors in this special way. I've also been inspired by the Order's continued commitment to our long-standing initiatives. We donated more than 100,000 coats to kids. From Washington, D.C. to the Constance Lake First Nation in Canada, we gave the gift of warmth in the coldest months. Over the past 12 years, we have now given coats to more than 800,000 children. Over and above our pandemic response, we provided nearly $1.5 million in disaster relief. Our response came in the wake of wildfires, hurricanes, floods, earthquakes, and tornadoes. We helped the victims and even saved others from becoming victims. When fires ripped through California and Oregon, Knights were on the ground, building shelters and fighting the inferno. And we continue our support for Special Olympics. While the pandemic prevented many competitions from happening, we still donated more than $3.5 million and nearly 500,000 volunteer hours. Our efforts have helped Special Olympics bounce back from the crisis. Finally, we reached a new milestone in partnership with the Global Wheelchair Mission. We have now donated more than 100,000 wheelchairs around the world. It took us nearly 20 years to reach this point, starting with a gift of 2,000 wheelchairs to landmine victims in Afghanistan in 2003. But we're not done. We've now set our sights on donating 100,000 more wheelchairs. The Knights will continue to give the gift of mobility. On every front, the end of the pandemic is an invitation to action. Charity is our highest calling, and it demands our renewed focus. Where there's pain, let us heal. Where there's grief, let us comfort. Where there's need, let us meet it in new and creative ways. One ongoing need is support of the priesthood. Solidarity with our priest has always been a hallmark of the Knights of Columbus. Early next year, the Vatican will hold an important symposium on the priesthood, and I am pleased to announce that the Knights of Columbus will be a major sponsor. We have committed $200,000 to the event, which will be hosted by our brother knight from Canada, Cardinal Mark Ouellet, who now serves as the prefect for the Congregation for Bishops. At the same time, we will continue to provide scholarships to seminarians. Last year, we provided more than $1.2 million to this worthy cause, and we will grow that number in the years to come. As we serve our communities, countries, and church, we cannot forget our fellow Christians in the Middle East who continue to face great hardship. Their plight is still dire, as Pope Francis recently reminded us during his historic visit to Iraq. The Knights of Columbus was honored to sponsor the Papal Mass in Erbil, which was attended by some 10,000 Iraqis. In that war-torn region, the Holy Father declared that fraternity is more durable than fratricide, and hope is more powerful than hatred. Our fraternity helps provide that hope. In the past year alone, we devoted $4.4 million to help the region's persecuted religious minorities. We financially supported a new effort to clear landmines, restore farmland, and allow refugees to return. Our total Middle East relief now stands at more than $30 million. Thanks to the Knights of Columbus, our fellow Christians are rebuilding their homes and reclaiming their future. We will continue to aid them because persecuted Christians can count on the Knights of Columbus. Beyond the Middle East, we are also focused on the plight of Christians in Nigeria, Africa's largest country. Tens of thousands of innocent Nigerians have been killed for their faith in recent decades. Last year, we announced a new initiative to report on this perilous situation. Our partners have already conducted extensive interviews with Nigerian Christian families. Brother Knights will be on the ground there beginning this month. We're confident their efforts will lead to much greater attention to the crisis faced by Nigeria's Christians. Closer to home, we continue to support our fellow Catholics in Native American and First Nation communities. In New Mexico, a shrine in honor of St. Kateri Tekakwitha is being built with our support. And last month, Knights in South Dakota led a pilgrimage to the burial site of Nicholas Black Elk, a revered Lakota man who has been declared a servant of God. Also this year, the Supreme Council released a new documentary film about the Catholic faith of indigenous communities in North America. It is a powerful testament to the contributions they have made to our church and culture. The film is titled Enduring Faith, and it began airing on ABC affiliates in May. This trailer will give you a glimpse of their inspiring story.
Christ reveals himself through the beauty of each and every one of our cultures. We are vibrant, we are alive, we are still here, and our voices need to be heard.
I tell people that either I'm a Christian Indian or an Indian Christian, and it really doesn't matter how it goes. As long as in my heart I know who God is and know that I am His child.
Pope Francis has repeatedly asked Catholics to go to the peripheries to help those in need. And among those peripheries on our own continent are Native American communities. In response, the Knights of Columbus began a new initiative to get to know Native Americans, and especially Native American Catholics, by cooperating together on projects, learning more about their culture and their history.
We know that there's a lot of negative history in the interaction between the Native people and the peoples who came from Europe, but at the same time, one of the positive things that took place is that the gospel did come to the America, to the people of the Americas, to the people to whom I belong. The gospel of Jesus Christ has been thriving among Native people since it was first brought here.
Our faith is deep, our faith is long-standing, and that story needs to be told if you're going to tell the story of Catholicism in Americas. But more importantly, that faith needs to be shared, and people need to know that we're here and that we're here to share our faith with you.
Native peoples have a deep sense of the sanctity of human life and the sacredness of God's creation. We can learn much from them about respect, wonder, and gratitude toward nature. And there is also a need for reconciliation with Native Americans. This need is hidden from many Americans by the fact that so many Native communities are isolated. We need to get to know each other better. And this in turn depends upon an honest appraisal of history. A natural place to begin, which actually may be a supernatural place to begin, is with people of faith. People of faith should be able to approach each other with a sense of solidarity, respect, and humility. Communities of faith can have a fraternal affection, more like a family, where honest conversations can lead to better understanding and to reconciliation, rather than to confrontation.
Our charitable work helps millions of the most vulnerable. We never seek their gratitude, and some cannot give it because they are not yet born. We are fighting for their right to life. The Knights have a distinguished legacy of defending life. We've played a leading role in national and state marches for life since they began. While the pandemic disrupted most marches over the past year, Knights found creative ways to continue their witness. In Canada, Knights led a smaller national March for Life. Virginia Knights served as marshals for a scaled-back March for Life in Washington, D.C. Both marches also featured virtual rallies with hundreds of thousands participating. These marches for life are a vital witness, and I look forward to the day when together we will march to victory. Last year marked the 60th anniversary of the Silver Rose program. Beginning in 1960, Knights from Canada, Mexico, and the United States have carried silver roses across North America's borders, signifying our unity and shared commitment to building a culture of life. 60 years ago, the program began by crossing the International Bridge in Laredo, Texas. For the anniversary celebration, Knights crossed that same bridge. Guided by Our Lady of Guadalupe, we look forward to 60 more years of the Silver Rose program. Certainly, our most notable pro-life program is the Ultrasound Initiative. It continues to grow and save countless unborn lives. Since 2009, the Order has placed more than 1,400 life-saving machines in pregnancy resource centers. 2 state councils have now donated more than 100 machines each. Florida dedicated its 100th machine last October, and California followed in April. Archbishop Jose Gomez of Los Angeles personally blessed California's 100th device. The Ultrasound Initiative has now reached Asia. Under the leadership of our territorial deputy, General Shin, we placed our first machine in South Korea in April, and more are on the way. The fight for life has many fronts. They all require our creative courage, and the coming year will be pivotal. In the United States, the Hyde Amendment is under attack. This federal policy bans the use of taxpayer funding for abortion and has saved more than 2.4 million lives since it was first enacted in 1976. It's named for its chief sponsor, the late Congressman Henry Hyde, a proud brother knight. He was a champion for the unborn in his more than 3 decades in Congress. But now, a slim majority wants to repeal his life-saving work. The Knights will stand in the gap to defend it. Nearly 60% of Americans want to keep this common-sense policy. For the sake of the unborn, we will fight to preserve the Hyde Amendment. Also this year, the Supreme Court will hear its most important abortion case in decades. For the first time, the court could allow states to ban abortion before the age of viability. It would be a major victory for all who cherish life, resulting in a wave of new pro-life laws across America. Our annual Marist polling consistently shows that 3 out of 4 Americans favor substantial restrictions on abortion. Let us pray that the court will stand for life, and let us hope that when we gather at next year's convention, we will celebrate the most pro-life Supreme Court decision in American history. In 2019, we launched a donor-advised fund that can help supercharge your own charity. We call it the Knights of Columbus Charitable Fund. It helps individuals, families, and councils set aside money to benefit charities aligned with Catholic teaching. Through the Knights of Columbus Charitable Fund, you can make contributions that can grow over time and recommend grants to the organizations that matter most to you and your family. The Charitable Fund is already off to a strong start. After just 18 months, we already have $14 million in assets, and we anticipate robust growth in the coming months. Last year, the Charitable Fund enabled donors to grant more than $1.9 million to charities around the world. And the Knights of Columbus Charitable Fund is poised to make a major impact in the years ahead. We are also taking new steps to strengthen Knights of Columbus Asset Advisors. This program allows us to manage faith-driven investments for hundreds of councils, dioceses, and religious orders. It offers the broadest Catholic lineup of investment strategies in the world. Now, for the first time, we are making those strategies available to everyone, not just Knights. They're called Knights of Columbus Mutual Funds, and they're a game changer. Licensed field agents can now offer our mutual funds to anyone who wants them. You can be sure your investments uphold Catholic teaching without exception. These investment products also complement our insurance products. Catholics can now look to us both for financial protection and financial planning. With Knights of Columbus Mutual Funds, we are poised to become the go-to financial resource for Catholic families. Father McGivney created the order to protect those families, and we are advancing that mission into exciting new territory. In all we do, the Knights inspire. When Catholic men see us protecting families and serving the least fortunate, they will want to join us. Men want to be part of something bigger than themselves. They want a life of meaning, a life of mission. They find it in our brotherhood. We help them grow and their families thrive. That's why more than 2 million men currently stand among our ranks. Growth was a challenge during the pandemic, but we still made progress. Online membership was a major on-ramp for new members. It accounted for 40% of our growth last year. We expect that number to continue growing even as COVID fades. The new exemplification of charity, unity, and fraternity has also proved popular. Early in the pandemic, we adapted the exemplification for online use. Nearly 26,000 Knights benefited from this innovation, including new members and existing members who advanced to the third degree. They now have a better sense of our purpose and principles. We will soon launch an initiative to re-engage existing members. The affiliate member program will free up local councils to focus on what matters most, serving the parish and those in need. The program will begin on a pilot basis this fall, and I am confident it will be a success. Every Knight has a duty to expand our brotherhood. We are all ambassadors for the order, and so today I issue a challenge to every Brother Knight. Between now and next year's convention, invite at least 2 Catholic men to join us. Just 2 men. Perhaps they're in your parish. Perhaps they're longtime friends or neighbors. All they need to do is visit kfc.org/join us. If each one of us does this, we will set the stage for a new era of growth in good men and good works. We all want to make a bigger difference. By accepting this challenge, you will ensure that happens. One of the most effective ways to grow the order is to highlight our charitable work. Let's watch one Brother Knight's example, which should inspire us all.
I met someone on a highway. He noticed my Knights of Columbus insignia, and he asked me what council I was with. And I said, "How do you know about that?" And he said, "I was a Catholic priest." Well, that was enough for me to try to get him in my car and take him to shelter. He didn't want to go, so I had some blankets in the car, and I gave him $20, my business card, and the blankets, and I told him, "If you ever need me, call me. I will come get you and bring you to shelter." As a Catholic and as a Knight, I didn't want to leave him there. I had a very hard time driving away. And after that, I thought, I have to do more. I thought, well, if I can't bring them in, maybe I could stop them from freezing to death. So why not blankets? It's something that everyone needs, something that will keep them warm through the night. Maybe they could get to shelter the next day. You know, if I could give them that chance, that fighting chance, one more day, then I'm doing the right thing. So I'm compelled to help, and as a Knight, I feel I must. I come at night because sometimes I can't sleep and they're freezing. And I may have like 20 blankets sitting in my garage. I'll just load them up in the car and tell my wife I'll be back in a little bit. And just go out and start tossing them out. It makes me feel good knowing that they're gonna get a little bit of warmth this evening. I asked Byron Fanning, my Grand Knight, if he would support me in doing a blanket drive. And the Knights gave me my first envelope full of money to go buy the blankets and supporting me 100%.
The folks that are experiencing homelessness on the trails are our neighbors, and Patrick gets that. But to see the living embodiment of it in Patrick is very inspiring to me and to our Brother Knights.
With a team of Knights behind you, there's nothing we can't do. I always say start very small. Start in your home. I think for the young kids, this is a great place to start, because one day you'll be looking at your child and saying, did I raise them the right way? And this is the right way.
It is also important to grow the fourth degree. In the past year, more than 15,000 Knights pledged themselves to lives of patriotism. Total membership in the fourth degree now stands at more than 370,000. I encourage every Knight who is not yet a member of the fourth degree to join. What starts with charity, unity, and fraternity doesn't stop there. Our principles point to love of country. Patriotism is an essential part of who we are. A perfect example of our patriotism is on full display in the Philippines. This year marks the 500th anniversary of Catholicism there. The Catholic faith has long been a source of Filipino pride and progress. Our more than 470,000 members in the Philippines are taking a leading role in the celebrations. I thank God for their witness and pray that this anniversary provides not only an opportunity for celebration, but also for renewal. As patriots, we support the best traditions of our countries. For that reason, we stand opposed to the dangerous rise of so-called cancel culture. From North America to Europe and beyond, there is a coordinated campaign to rewrite history and intimidate anyone who stands in the way. Cancel culture focuses exclusively on injustice and overlooks the march toward justice. Ultimately, this campaign is divisive and it threatens to tear our societies apart. The Knights of Columbus believes in a better way, where cancel culture blames, we work for reconciliation and reform. Where it divides, we unite, promoting the equal brotherhood of all. Knights have always advocated for faithful citizenship, religious liberty, and equal justice. We play a vital role in building societies where all can live in peace and harmony. We have done so from our founding to this very day, and we will continue to do so in the future to an even greater degree. In all we do, our success depends on our commitment to charity, unity, and fraternity. Our principles are a powerful synthesis of the gospel. They enable us to lead the extraordinary lives to which Christ has called us. By embracing our principles and doing good works, we will spread the faith. This can be difficult, but our baptism demands no less. Ultimately, we have the responsibility to evangelize our culture. We have little choice, because if we don't evangelize our culture will evangelize us. In many ways, the cultural current is trending against us. It tells us that what we hold to be right is wrong, and what we hold to be true is false. It is no wonder the Catholic family is struggling. Consider the facts. Nearly a third of Catholic marriages end in divorce. 8 of 10 Catholic children leave the church by their early 20s. The median age at which they begin to fall away is just 13 years old. My brother Knights, these challenges are unprecedented. Our commitment to address them must also be unprecedented. It falls to us to strengthen the Catholic family. The Knights of Columbus is well suited to the task. For generations, we have helped Catholics become better husbands, better fathers, and better men in every respect. That's exactly what the world needs right now. I have long admired the Order's impact on men. As a Navy JAG officer for many years, I saw young men who had the courage to serve their country, but who nonetheless made poor decisions and got into trouble. My job was to represent them at courts-martial. Many lacked strong families or strong father figures, and too few had a living and real faith. This made a lasting impression on me, and I came to appreciate that one of the best things about the Knights is that we can help fill this void. As Supreme Knight, I will prioritize new initiatives to strengthen the faith of men and the faith of our families. I firmly believe that more and more our success as an order will be judged by this standard. Our growth depends on empowering men to be the husbands and fathers that God wants us to be. It is harder than ever, and for that reason, we must push forward as never before. It will require creative courage. Fortunately, we are building on a strong foundation. Following the success of our Faith in Action program model, last year we launched a new video series called Into the Breach. Its 12 episodes focus on the topics that matter most to men, from fatherhood to masculinity to spiritual warfare. Into the Breach has proven immensely popular. To date, it has been viewed more than 750,000 times. Its accessible format and content make Into the Breach a template for future projects. This spring, we launched a new monthly webcast known as Nightcast. Available on our website, via email, and through social media, Nightcast is designed to strengthen men in our faith. Each episode includes inspiring stories, interviews with Catholic leaders, and the Supreme Chaplain's monthly challenge. It has been well received, and we are taking steps to make it even better. It will relaunch this fall, and I encourage every night to subscribe. New projects are coming soon. One of the most important is a new video series on family and fatherhood. The Knights must be a beacon of hope on these critical issues. We have an opportunity and an obligation to help Catholics fulfill their calling as husbands and fathers, and above all, as men. This new series will do just that. You can also look forward to a third season of Everyday Heroes. The next round of videos will introduce a new group of inspiring knights. They come from different backgrounds, but they share one key attribute. Their uncommon faith is a common feature. Their example of courage and action deserves our attention.
I've been a captain for 18 years now. As I came about into the main channel of the North River, I saw something I couldn't quite identify at first.
Kids shouldn't die because they didn't have food.
A hero is someone who will help others.
Somebody who sees a need and finds a way to fill the need.
The Knights has always been there for the downtrodden, those that need the most help.
I'm compelled to help, and as a knight, I feel I must.
How could you ever give up a career in hockey? When God calls, he said, you listen.
And when God calls us to do things, sometimes he asks us to step out in faith.
God answers your prayers before you even know it.
I have such a new understanding on the power of prayer. It is real.
Decades down the road, history books will record the involvement of the Knights of Columbus. They were the ones that did day in, day out what needed to be done.
When I needed their help, they came through.
One of the principal tools to reach and form Knights and their families is Columbia. This month marks a century of Columbia as the Order's flagship publication. The magazine was redesigned this past fall, coinciding with Father McGivney's beatification, and we are currently developing new content and a digital strategy to further the Order's mission and expand its audience. Finally, this fall we will debut a new documentary on St. Joseph. It will explore why St. Joseph is the ideal model for Catholic men. It will also examine why devotion to him has been important through the ages and why it matters now more than ever. Here's a sneak peek at this timely film that will air on network television across America.
Sometimes people have wondered why there isn't so many things written on St. Joseph in the New Testament. You could say that he was kind of like a veil that was hiding the true presence of Jesus.
One of the great mysteries of Joseph is his role as a father, not only to Jesus, but to the church itself.
When he was thinking about Mary's pregnancy, what he did is he entered the silence before God, and then he acts in a manly way.
God assigns as a task to every man the dignity of every woman. St. Joseph constantly modeled the upholding of Mary's dignity.
The year of St. Joseph is so urgently needed. Fathers are so much more needed and so vital to human flourishing.
I think Pope Francis
wants us to look to Joseph to find a model for going forward in difficult times and keeping to the faith.
We're at a moment in society where men are afraid to stand up for what is right. The example of St. Joseph teaches us that we really find ourselves when we live for others, to be a man of courage and to be a man of sacrifice.
St. Joseph's role was to raise the Son of God so that he could become, in the fullness of his manhood, who he was to be and save the world.
The Knights of Columbus does many things, but they all come down to one thing. We get the man right. We empower him to embrace his faith and lead a life of charity, unity, and fraternity. And by getting the man right, we start a chain reaction. We can get the marriage right, the family right, the parish right. We can even get the culture right. A knight makes a difference far beyond himself. We should witness to our faith in all we do, and all who see us should see the light of Christ shining through us. But a Knight of Columbus only sows the seeds that Christ first plants in us. On the day I was installed as Supreme Knight, I spoke about our calling as Knights of the Eucharist. No words better describe our mission. The Church teaches us that the Eucharist is the source and summit of the Christian life. It is just as much the source and summit in the life of a knight. Christ in the Eucharist is the source of true charity. Christ in the Eucharist is the author of true unity. Christ in the Eucharist is the builder of perfect fraternity. In the body, blood, soul, and divinity of our Lord, we find our strength. The more we devote ourselves to the Eucharist, the more we will understand what it means to be a knight. We know what and who the Eucharist is, but many of our fellow Catholics do not. As many as 2/3 of Catholics no longer believe in the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist. This is deeply troubling. Restoring belief in the Eucharist is essential. The future of our Church depends on it. To that end, I am pleased to announce that the Knights of Columbus will be a major sponsor of the upcoming National Eucharistic Revival in the United States. The U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops is organizing this effort. The bishops will release more details in the months ahead, but for now, our task is to deepen our own devotion to the Eucharist. We can do this through personal prayer, attendance at Mass, and Eucharistic adoration. The Knights are honored to support the National Eucharistic Revival even before it begins next year. Working with our bishops and priests, we will strive to renew belief in the Eucharist and build up the Church. We are a force for unity, and we will prove it by pointing to the source of unity. As Knights of the Eucharist, we proudly proclaim this truth. It is truly an honor to lead the Knights of Columbus in this exciting time, and it is a privilege to do so alongside so many dedicated brother knights. I was installed as Supreme Knight just 2 months ago, together with the new Supreme Officers and Directors and many of our state deputies. It was a humbling and awesome experience, made all the more so by the sacred setting, St. Mary's Church, where our blessed founder established the order. I cannot think of a more fitting place to have begun our united work. God is calling us to fulfill a great task. This is a time of challenge, but as every knight knows, strength rejoices in challenge. Our Lord has given us a powerful sign of what He wants us to do and where He wants us to go. In the designs of Providence, it is no coincidence that this year of St. Joseph comes on the heels of Father McGivney's beatification. These two men are models for every knight. In St. Joseph, we see our mission and mandate: guard the family, guard the truth. He led through service and creative courage. So must we. It is the only way to overcome the hurdles facing our families, the church, and our culture. Father McGivney, too, was a man of courage. Like us, he lived in a time of great need. He rose to meet that need in new and powerful ways. Where he led first, we follow and must lead still. As his heirs, we take his vision to new places and people. There is nowhere else we'd rather be, and nothing else we'd rather do. As we recall the lives of these two men, we should ask how we can become more like them. So too should we ask how we can meet the moment that we are in. The answer lies before us. Father McGivney's feast day is only 10 days away on August 13th. It will be his first liturgical memorial since his beatification, and it is a day when every knight, wherever they are, should deepen their devotion to our founder. I urge every knight to pray for his intercession, especially on August 13th. I also urge every knight to turn to St. Joseph. During my installation, I knelt before a beautiful icon of our Lord's foster father. It is from St. Joseph's Oratory in Montreal, and that image will be the centerpiece of our next Pilgrim Icon program. It will travel in every jurisdiction for the next 2 years. Seek it out. Ask for St. Joseph's inspiration and intercession for you, for your family, and for the order. Finally, let us turn to Our Lady of Guadalupe, the patroness of the order. We are now just 10 years away from the 500th anniversary of her apparitions to St. Juan Diego. We are already preparing for this great celebration. The following year will mark 150 years since the founding of the order. As those joyful milestones approach,